Oh, he's done it.
Has Wells got the finish?
That's in towards Tommy Conway.
Goal! Runners around him, goes on his own and scores a glorious goal!
Ruthless stuff for Bristol City.
Well, Coventry may have called it daylight robbery, but Dickie's decisive act on Saturday was all that mattered. A clean sheet and a hard-earned win leaves Nigel Pearson's Bristol City just one victory off the top four. With so many players on the treatment table, though, can the Tractor Boys be stalled? Second-placed Ipswich have only been defeated away from home this season by the River Don. Last weekend's washout against Rotherham means Kieran McKenna's side have still only conceded 2 on their travels and sit second. Bristol City against Ipswich Town in the Sky Bet Championship live on Robins TV this evening. Should be a cracker under the Ashton Gate lights. Nearly 3,000 fans have made the journey from Suffolk. I'm delighted to say that former Bristol City player Chris Honour is alongside me this evening. Chris, great to see you, great to have your company.
Thank you very much.
How much are you looking forward to this? Coventry were in great form at the weekend. Bristol City saw them off with a bit of trouble, of course. Ipswich, though, flying this year.
Yeah, Ipswich are the team to beat. They're a form team. They've come up from the division below and they've got some momentum. They missed playing at the weekend because of that game that was postponed at Rotherham. And they've got fresh legs. And Bristol City, off the back of a really hard-fought 1-0 victory on Saturday, hopefully have got enough again this evening. A big game, big crowd, a lot to play for, 3 points. Hopefully Bristol City can get in the playoffs.
City tried something a bit new in terms of the formation and the setup at the weekend and then reverted to a more kind of traditional Nigel Pearson 4-3-3 thereafter, and it paid dividends. How much admiration did you have for the coaching staff in realising that perhaps what was going on wasn't going to work?
I think he timed it very well. I mean, by the time, obviously, that he made those changes, we were still even and level. It could have been so easily a lot worse. There was a break in play. And I think with Matty James getting some treatment, I think they were able to reorganise themselves. I think the actual tweak to the formation was maybe done a couple of minutes before that, but that gave them a chance to go back to what they knew. They'd obviously worked very hard on a back three, and they recognised it didn't work. And sometimes these things don't work. It's when things don't come naturally to players and everything's played, and when you play, you're very spontaneous. You do things without thinking. In this case, when he changed it and he was playing with the back three, they just seemed to be very confused. They seemed to be very slow in their thought pattern, and he resorted back to his back four. And Bristol City started getting a foothold. They built off the back of that. They scored a very good goal just before half time, and second half was a bit of a nervy 45 minutes, but at the end of it, we picked up the 3 points, and that probably makes up for the 3 points that we didn't get against Stoke City only a few home games before. So, over a long season, it always evens itself out.
Well, let's see what the team and the formation looks like. For the first time this evening tonight, we'll head up to the gantry and join our lead commentator, Toby Osborne. Very good evening to you, Toby.
Good evening, Rob. Good evening, everyone. Yes, things bubbling nicely inside Ashton Gate. Of course, 3,000 away fans will pack the Atio stand tonight to cheer on an Ipswich side that haven't lost away from home so far this season. In fact, they've only lost once in their opening 12 games, sat just behind Leicester City in the Championship table. Kieran McKenna makes a solitary change after the Tractor Boys put 4 past Preston North End before the international break. Fresh legs after their postponed fixture against Rotherham on Friday. No return to BS3 for Wes Burns. He is sidelined for Ipswich after suffering a shoulder injury whilst playing for Wales against Gibraltar 2 weeks ago. Caden Jackson deputises on the right flank, although he'd already been in contention courtesy of his goal against Preston last time out. No further injury issues. The rest of the side remains the same, a side very much conducive of their spending power at Ipswich. Man United loanee Brandon Williams starts at right back. Top scorer Connor Chaplin slots in behind Leicester City signing George Hurst. Amari Hutchinson on loan from Chelsea, having to remain patient for regular game time in the league. And then the bench includes Spurs youngster who's already featured for the North London side's first team, Dane Scarlett. Nigel Pearson has reverted to a back four that played out about an hour on Saturday after Hayden Roberts struggled to impress at left back in a back five. Jason Knight was introduced just before half-time to add to the midfield, and that has proven to be the only alteration, with Roberts dropping to the bench. Cal Naismith and Joe Williams again miss out for Bristol City. It proves too soon for Viner and Wells too, with a relatively inexperienced bench. Another spot for Joseph James. The defender has been impressing in first team training for a month or so now. Mehmeti and Cornick struggled to get into the game against the Sky Blues, but undoubtedly Pearson's favoured changes should the time come. Right, so let's hear the view from the dugout. Nigel Pearson is with Robbins TV.
Nigel, you've gone with the same team that started the second half on Saturday. Is that need? Is that the reflection of actually it was a pretty gritty performance?
I think it's our strongest starting 11 with what we've got at the moment. You know, we've got some options on the bench, which particularly in sort of attacking positions give us some positive options, and then we've got a lot of youth on the bench too, which is, you know, as far as I'm concerned. There are some who are a bit more ready than others, but I think a game like tonight's got a bit of a cup feel to it. You know, there's a Ipswich have come with quite a bit of pomp, and rightly so. They're in a tremendous run of form. What we've got to do is be ourselves, be positive, and hopefully it'll be a good game.
You said on Saturday it was an ugly win. Would you settle up for that tonight, or do you want a bit more?
Yeah, the most important word in your question there is the win. Is win. Yeah, I mean it's. We would like to back up what was a tough afternoon against Coventry, in the sense that we spent a lot of time on the back foot and having to sort of work exceptionally hard to stay in the game. But we managed to win. You know, that's the nature of the Championship. We play against a very, very much an informed team who, I think, even though they were in League One last year, I think everybody would probably be thinking they're the favourites tonight away from home. So what we have to do is go out there and be ourselves. I think looking at the players tonight and talking to them, they're really in a good mood and really up for it. So let's see what happens. But you know, a big game for us. Be great to win this one, of course, to continue our progress. But we know we're a little bit thin at the minute with players, if you like. But you know, it could be a case that youngsters get opportunities that they wouldn't normally have, which I think, in the bigger picture, is very good for the club.
All the best tonight.
Yeah, cheers, thanks.
Nigel Pearson, the Bristol City manager there, acknowledging that Ipswich, even though they're a newly promoted side, coming into this game in fine fettle and probably the favourites for this game, even though Bristol City at home tonight, Chris. Be interesting to see tactically how it plays out, because we saw Plymouth, who were another quite free-scoring side, came up from League One. They committed bodies forward against City here at Ashton Gate a few weeks ago. Got picked off pretty well by City, who ran out comfortable winners. Ipswich, well, last season, 98 points, 100 goals scored. You'd expect them to attack it in the same way. But actually, away from home, they've only scored 6 this season, but crucially, they've only conceded 2. So how do you think they're going to approach it?
Yeah, I would imagine that Bristol City would like them to come on in a gun-ho kind of style. It certainly gives Bristol City a chance to attack down the flanks and find spaces behind the fullbacks. I think it's interesting to hear Nigel Pearson stating that the away team's favourites this evening. He's probably lowering the expectations of the fans slightly. But what I like about him as well is he's just honest. You can only deal with the cards that you're being dealt with, and with all the injuries that the club have currently got, he's got 4 of his main players out. Looking at the bench, he's only got 3 senior subs on the bench there, and hopefully he's just got them actually very strong and stable. He's got a great sort of team ethic that he's implanted into the squad, and hopefully that's enough to drag them through. But Ipswich are certainly going to feel as if they're going to be they've got an opportunity of beating Bristol City today. But I fancy Bristol City just to do enough and just creep the 3 points.
I hope you're right. Despite all the injuries that have been alluded to, City finished the weekend 8th in the table. They've now dropped to 12th because of the games last night. But as I mentioned earlier on, just 2 points off the top 5, 3 off the top 4. There's a lot of congestion to get through.
Typical Championship, isn't it? It's just a brilliant division, and it is every single year that any team that gets a vague pattern of consistency, they just end up flying up the league. We were watching Middlesbrough at the moment. They've put, I think, 5 wins in place over the last few games, and they've gone from the bottom 3 well above middle. So yeah, you get some consistency in this league, and you're going to be doing very well. So hopefully Bristol City can build off Saturday's victory and bring another 3 points home again.
And it's a fixture they've enjoyed quite a lot in the last few years. They haven't met Ipswich at this level since 2019. Obviously Ipswich have been playing in League One for the last few seasons, but City just the 1 defeat in the last 10 league meetings, including this rewind back to 2016, the start of the Lee Johnson era, and it got off to a winning start courtesy of the big man, Aidan Flint.
Certainly got options in the centre, Aidan Flint being one of those. Starts to make his move now. Headed away on as far as Corey Smith, deflected on Bielikowski with a super save. Well, you must have seen it lay so many bodies in the way. And the Bristol City skipper so close to giving his side the lead. There was the deflection and the reactions. Nathan Baker, Aidan Flint, going to cause problems. As it's swung in and glanced on by Flint and into the back of the net. 20 minutes on the clock and Bristol City hit the front. Really good header getting across his man off the post, nothing that the goalkeeper could do. Constantly on the move is Aidan Flint. Towards the near post they can, and Flint is there again. Oh, Ipswich Town, do you not learn your lessons? Aidan Flint at the double. He's actually doubled his tally for the season. First goal since December, and they are 2 deliveries in from Freeman. And now 2 goals for Aidan Flint and 2 glancing headers, almost carbon copy of his first. Bristol City lead now by 2-0. Lee Johnson described taking the job here at Ashton Gate as coming home. What a start to life to the Johnson era, having got Barnsley to Wembley in the Johnson's Pay Trophy. Could flick on and Murphy's away, he's in behind. It's Murphy! It's a firm stop by O'Donnell. Hasn't had that much to do today, the Bristol City goalkeeper, but Murphy all on his own here. Beaten in 2. With a point at home to Birmingham City, Bristol City, and then winning away at Chobham last weekend. But here come Ipswich, and O'Donnell is beaten by Pittman. Just after the hour mark, Brett Pittman scores his 9th league goal of the season. This is good play. Another one would certainly seal it, you feel. Oh, super save this time from Bielikowski. Looked almost certain to be finding that bottom corner from Agard. That really would have secured the points. It's all over. What a win for Bristol City in the first under the Lee Johnson era proper.
Good memories there of Bristol City taking on Ipswich Town back in 2016. Lee Johnson's first match, a brace from Aidan Flint, and then Brett Pittman, who of course played for Bristol City as well with the goal for Ipswich. A lot has changed since then, but hopefully the result stays the same tonight. Kickoff is under 15 minutes away. We'll have more build-up after the break. Welcome back to Robins TV. A reminder that there's one change for Bristol City tonight. Jason Knight coming into the side in place of Hayden Roberts from the team that started the victory over Coventry at the weekend. As we've touched on, there's a number of players missing through injury at the moment, including Nahki Wells. Hopefully we'll see him back on the Ashton Gate pitch very soon indeed. But in the meantime, we've been keeping him busy by asking him some stupid questions.
Nahki Wells, striker. Last series, probably Power. That's the last thing I think I've watched or I've binged. Yeah, Power. It's a good one. Probably Muscles. Yeah, Muscles are overrated for us small people. Worst eating habits, Joe Williams. 100%. 0 vegetables, nothing green, all carbs. No, I don't. The only superstition I would have, and it's kind of off, would be just to try and replicate what I'd done in the previous game if it went well. So, you know, that's a superstition essentially. It'd be something related to my children, which I've been thinking about, but I want to get it on my leg somewhere, but it's hard when you're a footballer, so it would be a tattoo, either portraits of my children or something related to them. Lion. My phone. It was dancehall. I don't actually know the artist, but I was just listening to a playlist just now coming in. I don't know the artist, but I'll just say the genre of dancehall. Fried fish, and I'm gonna go for fried fish on a bun. So fish on a bun, best tartar sauce ever.
So there you have it. Nahki Wells wants to be a lion who eats fried fish in a bun. Bet you didn't know that.
He seemed very, very laid back, didn't he?
He did.
He was very calm about some of those answers.
Almost horizontal.
Yeah,
3 goals, 1 assist so far for him this season. Unfortunately out with injury tonight, but hopefully Tommy Conway, a bit more minutes in the legs. Obviously he's been out injured but came back explosively against Rotherham. And if he can get the service tonight, he's a massive threat.
Well, it's really hard to obviously say too much about Tommy because he's not the finished article. He's got a huge amount of potential. He could, in theory, be an all-time Bristol City great, and he could be the next one on the conveyor belt into the Premier Division from this club. But he's still got a lot to do, and he's got a good mentor in Nahki Wells, who seems to taken him under his wing, and they seem to work together as a little bit of a forward duo. Advice on and off the pitch, by the sounds of it, and I just hope, Tommy, achieves his potential, because the lad has got something special and he's a bit of a fox in the box, but also can score some great goals as well, as we saw at Rotherham. That little the one with the laces, and then the curler into the far corner. He's got it all.
Well, let's look a bit further into the opposition that Tommy Conway's facing tonight and see how Bristol City can attack and possibly unlock Ipswich, but we're going to focus on a couple of their strengths early on. I mentioned that at home in particular, they're free scoring, they score a lot of goals, they've obviously worked on their set pieces. They've got
not too many, I hope.
Well,
I don't want to be too nervous about this.
Kieran McKenna's worked very well with them, so we can watch a couple of clips here now. The first one, this was from their last game, a home match against Preston, which they ended up winning 4-2. Connor Chaplin there circled and picks off this set piece from Leif Davis, who's a great source of goals for them. Yeah,
one from the training ground, wasn't it? They managed to block off a few Preston players and make a big space at the near post, and then they aim for the corner, for the penalty spot from this corner, and he just runs onto this ball and he catches it absolutely perfect. It zips into that near post, and I think we've gone through that replay a few times, and if he could hit one any better, he'd certainly never do that again. That was just a brilliant finish, but it was definitely one off the training ground.
Chaplin's already got 5 this season. I mentioned Leif Davis, he was a real assist king for them last season. They're going to have to watch that Bristol City tonight. It was a good game by the look of it at Portman Road. It finished 4-2. It was sealed in the end by Jackson, who came off the bench, Caden Jackson. He's starting tonight, and this wrapped it up to make it 4-2. And again, it was just a very swift counter-attack this time.
I think Preston were pushing forward, and they left the door open, and all of a sudden Ipswich just surged forward, and there was lots and lots of bodies, and they made all the right decisions. They moved the ball quickly enough, and just a simple square into the box, and it was put away really well. But they're a really good attacking team, and Bristol City have got to be really on their mettle tonight. There's no doubt in that, and I'm sure Nigel Pearson's reminded them of that fact.
Caden Jackson moving into the starting 11 tonight in place of Wes Burns, who's injured, the former Bristol City player. Yeah. But it's not all bleak projections with those very impressive highlights from Ipswich Town's last game. Let's look at how Bristol City can maybe unlock the door, because they're not afraid to pass the ball around and build from the back, and that of course can open up some risks.
Yeah, it's the same old story. If you take some risks at the back and you lose possession of the ball, then you're likely to invite teams on, and in that instance they lost possession of the ball and Preston almost made them pay. It happens every Saturday. You're encouraging your defenders to pass it and to build from the back, but if you give it away, you're in serious trouble, and Bristol City can pounce very quickly, and they've proved they can do it all season.
If they can commit bodies forward.
Oh, absolutely, and they don't want to push too many bodies forward too quickly, because they get picked off. But when they work in their 2s and 3s and they push in all in unison, and they can certainly nick the ball high up the pitch, then they can make a good surge forward and make Ipswich pay.
Chris, former Bristol City player, on commentary tonight. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts throughout the evening. Thanks for your time. Well, it's almost time to say goodbye to you. If you're watching our pre-match show on YouTube and Facebook, you can still get a match pass for £10. But for now, we'll see you soon.